Valve is being sued in the UK for $843 million after allegedly using Steam's marketplace dominance to overcharge players. I would like for Steam to have competition, but there's not exactly another company like Steam in the gaming space. A lot of the times when we are making decisions about what we want, usually people are choosing the lesser of the evils. Steam far above the competition, right? Way better practices, and it's just so much friendlier to consumers than anything that is even remotely available right now, aside from maybe buying direct, right? Like buying, or like a company that goes direct to consumer. You have this thing where, yes, you can't let a company monopolize, but at the same time, if only one company is really treating its customers in a way that the customers like, it's just bound to happen. Like, there's nothing that you can really do about it. I mean, obviously, Steam wants a large part of the market share. That's just how it's going to be. They're a business, they have to run like a business, and that's typically how businesses run. Being accused of being a monopoly when you're really just the only good service for consumers out there is crazy. Valve is rigging the market and taking advantage of UK gamers. Now, there is one thing. This might be a little controversial. They probably look out a little more for certain like consumer practices in places that aren't North America, because obviously you see this with stuff like the Apple iPhone incident, right? They had to switch to USB-C because, well, I mean, potentially overcharging 14 million people in the UK, and claims they are shutting out other platforms for purchasing PC games. Now, I think this is just a case of publishing companies fishing where the fish are. If you make games and you want a bunch of people to see your games, where do you go? Steam. And you don't see this with other platforms because other platforms aren't nearly as popular. Why? Because a lot of other platforms aren't nearly as consumer friendly. If you have so many publishers going over to Steam, because that's where the most people are who could see your game and potentially buy it, it could very well look like a monopoly. Shockbolt made a website called Steam You Owe Us that provides more detail behind her claims and why she's taking the issue to court. Natasha Pierman, a partner at the law firm, states, competition law is there to protect consumers and ensure that markets work properly. When they don't work properly and consumers are harmed, collective actions of this kind provide consumers with a voice and a way of holding big companies like Valve to account. Competition is never a bad thing. It is always better for a consumer that there is competition in a market. However, if you're in the market and you are getting beat out by somebody who has more consumer-friendly practices, and you're not trying the same things that they're trying, losers lose. Steam is the largest distributor of PC games, reporting $9 billion in global revenue across 580 million game sales in 2023, according to a report by VG Insights. Game developer behind the Postal series, Running with Scissors, defended Valve's practices with Steam, arguing these lawsuits don't really care about the gamers/consumers. They only care about making money for themselves. Based game developer. Steam has a dominant position in the market mostly because it provides a better platform for both the gamers and the developers, not because they do monopolistic tactics like some other alternatives. Other competitors such as Epic Games Score take 12% and Good Old Games take 30% as commission compared to Steam's 30%. Steam has been around a lot longer and is a lot safer of an option, and also, again, you fish where the fish are. Epic Games Store just isn't as worthy of an option as putting it on Steam where more people are likely to see it. That's just kind of how it is. If the allegations are proven, Valve would be required to pay the full amount to the class, rewarding them all up to £44. That's approximately $55, 55 real money each, based on the $14 million figure. pretty insane. I wonder how they're gonna prove it. I mean, because this part can't be it, right? Because then you would have to make the same argument about GOG taking 30% when Steam also takes 30%. They would have to prove directly that Steam is charging more per item on Steam's platform in comparison to other platforms. And don't the publishers like set the prices on Steam? Like, aren't they the ones pretty much in charge of what the the price is? Maybe make an argument that the prices are inflated because of the 30% that Steam is taking. Then what about GOG? Like, the publishers would have to make the same 30% increase in order to compensate putting their games on there. So I'm not sure if that's gonna really be a factor. And obviously, again, you could say like, yeah, but there's 12% on Steam or Epic Game Store. Why aren't people going there? How many of those Fortnite players do you really think are actively looking at Epic Game Store? Listen, I used to have notifications on for Epic Game Store, and I would get so many notifications about like free trials and a game that's free if you get it now forever. I didn't click on a single one of them. And you have to think about it. These are the games that they are sending you push notifications for. And none of them seemed entertaining. And that's probably why they don't get a lot of consumer interaction with their store, compared to Steam at least. That's it. That is something else.